The Thompson family's annual summer party was in full swing at their Hamptons estate. Cocktails flowed as freely as the boasts about property portfolios and real estate empires. The usual game of one-upmanship had started before the first martini was poured. Just closed on another building in Manhattan, my brother Thomas announced, adjusting his Rolex. 40 stories, prime location. $2 billion acquisition. Wonderful, darling. Mom beamed, her diamonds catching the sunset. And Rebecca's development in Miami is almost complete, isn't it, dear? My sister nodded, Hermès scarf flowing in the ocean breeze. 3 towers, each over 60 floors. The most exclusive address in South Beach. I sat quietly by the infinity pool, sipping water from a crystal glass. My simple white linen dress and lack of jewelry made me practically invisible among the family's carefully curated display of wealth. Just how I preferred it. And what about you, Alexandra? Dad's attention turned to me, his voice carrying that familiar mix of pity and disappointment. Still in that little studio downtown? The conversation lulled. All eyes turned to the family. Disappointment. 33, unmarried, and apparently wasting my Stanford business degree on a modest lifestyle. Something like that, I said, checking my phone. 5:58 p.m. Almost time. Rebecca sighed dramatically. You know, one of our developments has some lovely starter units. Perfect for someone on a limited budget. I'm good, thanks. I took another sip of water, hiding my smile. Alexandra, darling, Mom set down her martini. Don't you think it's time to invest in something substantial? Your brother could help. I finished, checking the time again. 5:59 p.m. I appreciate the offer, but I'm doing fine. Thomas snorted. Fine? Living in a studio while managing other people's buildings? That's not exactly success in this family. Dad nodded sagely. The Thompson name means something in real estate. We have standards to maintain. 6 p.m. Right on schedule. Speaking of standards, I said, standing up, would anyone like to see what I've actually been managing? Rebecca rolled her eyes. Another small property management contract? I walked over to the outdoor TV, where CNBC played quietly in the background. With one tap on my phone, the channel changed to Wall Street Journal Live. Breaking news, the anchor announced. In what's being called the largest real estate revelation in decades, the mysterious owner behind Atlas Properties has finally been identified. The martini glass slipped from Mom's perfectly manicured hands. Alexandra Thompson, age 33, has been revealed as the CEO behind the $89 billion real estate empire. Sources confirm that Thompson has been operating in complete anonymity for the past 7 years, building what experts now call the most valuable private property portfolio in the world. That's impossible, Thomas whispered, his 40-story acquisition suddenly feeling very small. The screen filled with my official photo, taken in my real office, the one that made their corporate headquarters look like a storage closet. Thompson's holdings include over 70% of luxury properties in major urban centers, with a portfolio spanning residential, commercial, and mixed-use developments across 3 continents. 70%? Rebecca choked on her champagne. Actually, I turned to face my stunned family. That number's a bit low. We crossed 75% last month. Mom's hand flew to her diamonds. But you live in a studio. You mean the penthouse of my first building? I smiled, pulling up the ownership documents on my phone. I like to keep an eye on my properties. All 4,000 of them. 7 years, Dad managed to say. You've been running this for 7 years? While you were counting Thomas's floors? I projected my company's global holdings onto the pool house wall. I was counting cities. That little studio, you mocked? It's worth more than your entire Hamptons estate. The broadcast continued. Atlas Properties' revolutionary approach to luxury development has reshaped urban skylines worldwide. Thompson's personal net worth is estimated at $32.6 billion. Thomas's Rolex suddenly looked like costume jewelry. Rebecca's Miami towers felt like sandcastles. Dad's real estate empire seemed quaint. $2 billion for a building? I quoted Thomas's earlier boast. That's what my portfolio generates in monthly rental income. From one city. The sound of helicopter blades filled the air. Right on schedule. That would be my ride, I said, gathering my things. Board meeting in Dubai. We're announcing some acquisitions tomorrow. Rebecca, you might want to check which Miami properties. A sleek black helicopter appeared over the beach, my company's logo gleaming on the side. The buildings that had made me billions stretched along the horizon, their lights beginning to twinkle in the dusk. Wait. Rebecca stood, her Hermès scarf fluttering. You can't just drop this bombshell and leave? I smiled, watching as my security team appeared by the pool. Actually, I can. And I have a real estate empire worth more than this entire zip code to manage. The cocktails grew warm on the bar, forgotten like all their assumptions about their little sister who just managed properties. Oh, and Dad. I paused by the gate. This Hamptons estate you're so proud of? He looked up, face pale. What about it? Check your deed. Atlas Properties acquired this entire street last week. Your new lease terms arrive tomorrow. Alexandra Victoria Thompson. Mom's voice carried over the helicopter's whir. You will explain yourself this instant. I turned back, savoring the moment. The expensive cocktails sat untouched as my helicopter cast shadows across their prized infinity pool. The one they'd bragged about in Architectural Digest last year. Explain myself? I picked up the glossy magazine from the poolside table. Like how your exclusive Hamptons feature failed to mention that Atlas Properties owns the magazine. And this house. And most of the properties they featured. Mom's diamond seemed to dim. But the article said. The media company that published it? I tossed the magazine into the pool. I acquired them last quarter. Just like I own the firm that handles your real estate listings, Thomas. My brother's perfect composure cracked. What are you talking about? Your exclusive brokerage? I pulled up holographic property records. They're an Atlas subsidiary. Every commission, every deal, every transaction, it all flows through my companies. Rebecca's Miami developer pride made one last attempt. Our developments are independent. Are they? I smiled, expanding the hologram. Check your phone. Your biggest investor is probably calling right now. On cue, her phone buzzed. The color drained from her face as she read the message. That's right, I continued. That anonymous funding for your Miami project? It's Atlas Properties money. You've basically been developing my land this whole time. The Wall Street Journal broadcast deepened the wound. Sources say Atlas Properties controls an estimated 80% of luxury development rights in major urban centers. Thompson's portfolio is reportedly worth more than the next 5 largest real estate companies combined. More than the next 5. Dad muttered, his real estate empire suddenly looking very provincial. All those times you asked about our development strategies. I was monitoring my investments, I nodded. Though, investment might be the wrong word when you own the entire market. The pool house wall displayed my empire's reach, skyscrapers spanning continents, developments reshaping skylines, property portfolios that made their luxury projects look like starter homes. But you live so modestly, Mom whispered, touching her diamond necklace nervously. Modestly? I laughed. Like when I tried to tell you about my first billion-dollar acquisition. The one you interrupted to brag about Thomas's massive 40-story purchase. I pulled up old family chat messages. Real success means owning trophy properties. When will you invest in something substantial? At least Rebecca understands luxury development. While you were sending these, I projected my company's latest valuations. I was building the largest private real estate empire in history. Every prime location, every luxury development, every major market, I own it all. Thomas's phone started ringing. The board of directors, he whispered. Probably about tomorrow's announcement. I checked my watch. Atlas is consolidating its holdings. Only the most profitable properties will remain in our portfolio. His $2 billion building suddenly seemed very vulnerable. Your annual revenue? I continued. My portfolio generates that in rental income by breakfast. Dad stood up, developer instincts finally engaging. Surely we can discuss some kind of family venture. Like when you told my early investors I was playing landlord? I pulled up more records. They're all my tenants now. The ones who listen to you are paying premium rents in my buildings. The security team's earpieces pulsed with incoming messages. Dubai was waiting. But let's talk about real estate. I activated another holographic display showing my personal holdings. Since you're all suddenly so interested in my portfolio. Darling, Mom tried again, we always wanted you to succeed. Really? I enlarged a particular property record. Like when you laughed at my first building purchase. It's worth more than your entire Hamptons compound. Actually, I checked my phone, I just acquired the last independent property on this beach. The deed transferred this morning. This beach. Rebecca's voice cracked. But this is the most exclusive stretch in the Hamptons. Was the most exclusive, I corrected. Now it's just another Atlas Properties asset. Speaking of which, your new rental terms will arrive tomorrow. The security team moved forward. Miss Thompson, Dubai is expecting you. Of course, I gathered my things. Oh, and Thomas? About that 40-story building you're so proud of. He looked up, Rolex glinting weakly in the fading light. I own the air rights above it. And the land under it. And the buildings around it. Enjoy being my tenant. One last thing, I said, turning back as my security team paused. The helicopter's blades cut through the evening air, casting moving shadows across their precious Hamptons lawn. Now my Hamptons lawn. Remember when you said I was wasting my potential managing other people's buildings? I picked up the property brochure lying on the pool chair. Let's discuss what management really means. Mom shifted uncomfortably in her designer lounger. Alexandra, sweetheart, we only wanted to guide me. I projected a new set of holograms. Like when you guided potential investors away from my first development project? Images filled the air, charity galas, real estate functions, society events. In each one, a quiet figure in simple clothes stood in the background, observing. That's. Thomas leaned forward. You were at all these events. Every major real estate gathering for the past 7 years, I confirmed. While you were networking with small-time developers, I was quietly acquiring their entire portfolios. The Wall Street Journal broadcast shifted. Breaking. Global property markets in turmoil as Atlas Properties revelation sends shockwaves through real estate sector. Multiple development CEOs reported to be in emergency meetings. That luxury real estate summit in Dubai last winter? I turned to Rebecca. When you were so proud to be speaking on that development panel. I owned the venue. And the development rights. And most of the properties being showcased. Rebecca's hands trembled as she reached for her champagne. All this time. And Thomas's exclusive broker convention? I continued. Where you told everyone I was still finding my footing? I was there deciding which property portfolios to absorb in our next acquisition. Thomas's perfect posture slumped. What acquisition? Tomorrow's announcement, I smiled. Atlas Properties isn't just buying buildings anymore. We're consolidating the entire luxury real estate market. Only the most valuable properties will remain. Though being modest might actually be an advantage now. The helicopter's spotlights swept across the beach, illuminating my properties as far as the eye could see. But what's truly ironic, I picked up Mom's property magazine, is how quick you were to dismiss the quiet one. The observer. The one who built an empire while you were bragging about single buildings. We never dismissed, Dad started. Really? I activated a final hologram. Like when you said I'd never understand true luxury? Let's talk about luxury, Dad. The air filled with real-time valuations, global properties, development rights, entire city blocks. All under my control. Every exclusive address you brag about? I own it. Every prime location you covet? I control it. Every luxury development in your portfolio? It's sitting on my land. The security team's earpieces pulsed again. Dubai couldn't wait much longer. You know what I learned from this family? I surveyed their shocked faces. That true power isn't in showing off wealth. It's in controlling the very ground beneath the wealthy's feet. Dad's developer pride made one final stand. Now listen here. Listen to what? I cut him off. How your modest daughter revolutionized real estate. How the one you called small time now owns the skylines you only dreamed of controlling. The Wall Street Journal ticker told the story. Atlas Properties' market cap exceeds combined value of all major real estate investment trusts. Thompson's portfolio reshapes global property markets. Still in that little studio? I quoted their favorite taunt. Funny how a little studio sounds when it's part of a $32 billion portfolio. Though that number's already outdated. I pulled up my real-time net worth. Thomas's Rolex suddenly looked very cheap as he saw the figure. That's not possible, he whispered. Possible? I laughed. I passed possible 5 years ago. While you were bragging about floors, I was quietly buying cities. The helicopter's engines grew more insistent. Miss Thompson, my chief of security, spoke softly. Dubai is waiting. Of course, I nodded. Global real estate doesn't pause for family drama. Unlike your development projects, my empire actually requires attention. I headed for the helipad, then paused. Oh, and Mom? That Hamptons social registry you're so proud of. She looked up nervously. Yes. I own the organization that publishes it. Next month's issue has some interesting updates about property ownership in the area. Apparently, modesty isn't the only thing this family got wrong about me. The helicopter's spotlights illuminated their stunned faces one last time. The expensive cocktails grew warm, forgotten like their assumptions about the quiet daughter who just managed properties. Happy summer, I called out. The property management office will contact you about the new lease terms. Being neighbors with the largest real estate empire in history tends to affect rental rates.